So this morning we talked about sort of doing more exercise, detoxing, setting up your own enterprise. How
Steps
about
off sweets and pies,
yeah,
though.
indeed. How about the simple idea of sitting around and simply doing nothing?
We're quite good at it.
We like that.
More technically, what we're talking about is called mindfulness meditation, and people who do it believe that it makes their brains healthier and fitter. Well, as it's practiced by someone known as the happiest man in the world, who are we to argue?
Well, our culture correspondent David Silito has been trying it out and seeing if there is real science behind the silence.
Just taking whatever time you need to settle.
Meet Michael Chaskelson, a man who's been teaching me to sit, close my eyes, be less stressed.
And if your mind wanders off dozens of times, that's fine. It's just what minds do.
It's called mindfulness meditation, a form of mind training that helps us worry less and live in the present moment. And it's claimed there's real science behind it.
We can be pretty certain, after 6 large-scale randomized controlled trials, that mindfulness training of the sort very similar to the program we did will more than halve the rate of relapse in cases of relapsing depression, for example. We know that it's effective in reducing stress, anxiety, and other similar mood disorders.
You might think, why did I feel so good?
And if you want evidence, meet Matthew Ricard, a Buddhist monk who's been called
the happiest man in the world.
I try to make so many disclaimers, no one believes me.
He is a little embarrassed. It was a phrase dreamt up for a newspaper headline, but there is some science behind it. When neuroscientists looked at his brain and activity in the area associated with positive thoughts, openness, compassion, happiness, the readings were off the scale.
There's an activation of some areas of the brain that has to do with positive affect that were activated in a way that was so far unreported in neuroscience in terms of in the gamma waves, in the gamma sort of oscillations. And so it was remarkable.
And he says just 8 weeks of meditation can make a difference. So I decided to give it a go, alongside someone I've known for many years who has real stress to deal with. Fiona has the condition lupus, and each day is painful.
At the moment it hurts in my lower back, my neck, my left shoulder, right knee, both feet, and my hands are a bit sore.
Mindfulness teaches you to practice shifting attention, develop a little of what Matthew has when it comes to things such as anger.
It's quite many years that I haven't got really red in the face.
It's been years since you got really angry.
Possibly, well, you know, maybe once I was with Paul Ekman, one of the world specialists on emotion, and he asked me, and I said, maybe, I remember one case about 25 years ago.
25 years, 50,000 hours of meditation. We were hoping to see improvements with just 30 minutes a day and using a brain scanner to test the results. And those you'll see tomorrow. David Silito, BBC News.
Yes, 25 years since he remembers being angry. 25 minutes.
25 seconds, more like.
We'll find out if there's evidence to support the claims in those results that we get from David Silito tomorrow. Now, this is a time of year when many people are focused on looking after their bodies better, of course. Perhaps, though, the mind should also receive similar attention.
In a moment, we're speaking to Dr. Danny Penman, who's author of Mindfulness, a practical guide to finding peace in a frantic world. And also to our culture correspondent, David Silito. You remember yesterday, the first part of David's series on mindfulness meditation, now part 2, in which he asks if mind over matter really can help improve pain and deal with anxiety and depression.
Sit, breathe, watch your thoughts. 8 weeks of daily practice of something called mindfulness meditation had come to an end. The object was to see if it reduced stress, or in Fiona's case, chronic pain caused by the condition lupus. So, had it?
All I know is that if I do a meditation practice and I'm in a lot of pain, it's not that the pain goes away, it's that it becomes more manageable and it's sort of put in its place, it can be dealt with.
I, though, wanted to look a little deeper, and so we went to a neuroscientist.
Can you please keep your eyes closed and allow your mind to wander, okay?
Elena Antonova at the Institute of Psychiatry wired us up in an MRI scanner. She asked us to let our minds wander normally, and then to meditate. The images are open to argument, but Elena says the results back up Fiona's experiences. On the left, you can see the area in the yellow circle, the response areas created by pain. On the right-hand side, they'd calmed down.
So this sort of shows the, to my mind, when I practice it, it's not that the pain goes, but I can almost take it down a few notches, and that's physically showing that.
It seems to be consistent with your experience.
Oh, wow. Gosh, that's amazing.
But what about me? When I meditated, an area at the front of my brain became less active, an area associated with self-centeredness, the ego.
The me bit has disappeared.
The me bit is definitely relaxed. Well, I probably wouldn't say completely disappeared, because just remember we're looking at the comparative state.
So did she see this pattern in anyone else?
But definitely the activity have shifted to the posterior bit of the brain from the frontal lobe, and that's generally, you know, the posterior activation are seen in Franciscan nuns, for example, or Tibetan monks during meditation.
A Franciscan nun. I wasn't expecting that. But Fiona's findings were worth further investigation. We sent them to an independent pain researcher at another university who said something had calmed the pain network.
And when Fiona says she can feel less pain or is less troubled by the pain, this is backed up.
That's right, yes, I would say so. This is quite clear from her images.
I knew what it was doing and I use it all the time and it helps me with my pain, but there is something very powerful about knowing there is physical, objective proof that it's working.
Scientifically, just 2 scans doesn't prove much, but it does reflect a wider, growing body of research that suggests mindfulness meditation can help stress, pain, and even self-centeredness. David Silito, BBC News.
He's a changed man, you know.
He really is. Hello, David. Nice to see you back on the sofa. Dr. Danny Penman joins us as well. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the programme. But David, you are a changed man since we've known you.
I don't know whether I'm a changed man,
Yes,
but
you are.
I have definitely decided to carry on with this. I don't quite know what's going on, but at certain desperate moments over the last 6 months when I thought everything was falling apart, as it does in everyday life, I have these little tools that I'd never had before. And now suddenly I have a different relationship with my head, which I never thought. I'm in my 40s, and suddenly I realise that my head is just full of random thoughts, and that they come and they go. And I actually thought, I just didn't know that before. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And then to actually be able to see your brain in an MRI scanner, and then realise that you're told this. What do I know? But the scientists said that's the area we believe is to do with self, you thinking about yourself all the time. That bit's, you know, how am I doing? How does this relate to me? And you've calmed it right down, and it feels great.
Well, Danny, can we all have like David, the serenity of a Franciscan nun?
Yes, it's you just need to do 10 to 20 minutes per day of mindfulness meditation, and very quickly, within a matter of days and certainly over weeks, your mind will become incredibly calm. You will be able to cope with the hustle and bustle of the daily world far more easily.
How do you do that, though? I've tried meditating before, and perhaps I'm not doing it correctly, but so many things pop in. If you try to have an empty mind, so many things pop into it that you think need doing. And it feels like a bit of a waste of time sitting there when you could be putting another wash on, fixing supper, tidying the lounge, getting stuff sorted. And it's all those things that cram into your head.
But this is entirely normal. The mind is designed to think. So it's hardly surprising when you close your eyes that it chases off like a greyhound after a hare. So the important thing is to accept that your mind just behaves that way. And mindfulness meditation is really the acceptance of that and watching the way your mind behaves. And when you become aware of how your mind really works, it starts to calm down. You become less stressed and less anxious. It's quite an extraordinary process.
Did you take much convincing, David, when you started? Did you have a sort of journalist's cynicism?
I think I was totally phobic about beards, sandals, incense, and anything sort of to do with Eastern mysticism. It just wasn't my cup of tea. But when I was sitting down chatting to someone who said, well, we're working with the US Marines, and you go, oh, hang on a sec, this is a different ballpark altogether. And you talk to neuroscientists, they're interested in what's going on there. And I think there seems to be, as far as I understand it, you talk about putting the wash on, talk about sorting all these things out. My head's full of this all the time, but I'm not actually doing it. I'm sitting there worrying about it. But if you get used to, every now and again, just bringing yourself back up to actually what is happening, it's quite nice. It's quite a nice feeling out in at the moment. Actually, it gives you a bigger chance, and it makes it easier to do all the stuff during the rest of the day. And that's really counterintuitive. And also pain, to concentrate on it and examine it, you think is the worst thing you could possibly do. You're trying to blot it out all the time.
Yes.
But it actually sort of says, no, look at it, feel it, what's really going on there? And you go, and strangely, it has an impact. And you think, that just doesn't make any sense.
Well, the fact that your friend Fiona with lupus has had such astonishing results from meditating, does it take a long time to learn to quieten your mind in that way that both you and Fiona found?
It takes, 10 to 20 minutes of mindfulness meditation today will have a very deep and meaningful effect. It's a dose-response relationship. In a way, the more you meditate, the longer or the more time each day that you will spend in that kind of calmer and more serene state of mind. But really, 10 minutes a day, if you start the day with 10 minutes of meditation, you will find your life is an awful lot easier.
Is it like fitness training?
Absolutely.
As you go on, you feel more benefits. Just think of it like that.
Okay.
Think of it like
Because we both said we're going to do it.
Both can do it.
Great.
Maybe haven't got time.
You should try it.
Haven't got time at 4 o'clock in the morning, possibly, but at some point during the day.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
We'll give it a go.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much for coming in.